Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. Mr. Ho and General Yin, two friends who intend to assassinate General Tianta, are shown to us in the opening scene, a Manchu government official with no mercy. It would appear that General Tianta has been wreaking havoc on innocent people in order to increase his own wealth. Mr. Ho is a teacher who is active in the community and teaches his students how to stand up for the right causes. General Yin, who is hiding on a rooftop, suddenly attacks General Tianta one day while his men are on their way to a meeting. The two generals engage in a fierce battle as a result. However, General Yi is seriously injured, demonstrating that General Tianta is superior. Tang San Yao, his subordinate, then executes General Yin in a public display. Later, when three students from Mr. Ho go to watch the execution, one of them, Lu Yud, slowly whispers that Yin was a hero. Tang overhears this and confronts Leo right away. Fortunately, Wang, Lu's father, arrives on the scene and pleads for mercy because they are the only ones. The students are then instructed by Wang to humble themselves under their adversary's rule. Later in the night, the three students who are still unsure about Wang's advice visit their teacher to see if they are entitled to speak the truth. Mr. Ho responds by emphasizing the significance of unity and the fact that rebellion cannot be fueled by the efforts of a single brave individual. They enthusiastically accept the teacher's invitation to join his local rebellion against the Manchu government. The Manchu have evacuated the area as a result of Mr. Ho's disclosure of information about secret documents that will arrive by sea. As a result, he needs a way to get around customs, so he asks the Leaves for help. Because Leaves' father owns a seafood shop close to the beach. The following day, Leo and his companions leave on their central goal. They delivered the secret information to Mr. Ho with success, who then delegated to Lord Jing, his associate. General Tian Dao, on the other hand, learns that the rebels are in charge of the operation. Loaded up with rage, he began hanging himself and his men as punishment for all rebels. We see Tang and his men capturing one of Li's companions in the following scene. They also demand the truth from him after he killed his entire family. However, rather than revealing anything, Lu's friend makes the decision to commit suicide. The gangsters then proceed to destroy the remaining Mr. Ho's school students following this tragic event. They execute all of the students' friends and family, including Lu's father. Determined to flee the town, Lu and one of his friends set out to seek kung fu instruction at the Shaolin Temple through a forest. However, their efforts are in vain because Tang and his men quickly capture the two friends, who attempt to flee for their lives. Sadly, however, Li's friend is caught and loses his life. Despite being injured during the process of fleeing, Lu manages to hide behind a massive rock next to a river until Tang and his cronies leave. Lu sets out to find the Shaolin Temple despite his injuries. He eventually seeks direction at a nearby village after a long walk. He inquires about the Shaolin Temple's location at a food store. As per the retailer, the sanctuary is at the pinnacle of the mountain, and seeing Lu's breaking down condition, he thinks he won't be able to make it. However, in an act of kindness, the kind proprietor of the shop makes the decision to assist Lu in the wee hours of the morning. With a cart, the Shaolin disciples go to the same food shop to buy food. Grabbing the chance, you are discreetly placed inside one of the baskets by the clever shop owner. The monks open a large basket as they approach the Shaolin Temple and begin unloading the food baskets. They see Lu Lang lying unconscious. After seeing this, their master tells them to bring Lu inside, where the temple healers will use natural herbs to treat his injured leg. Lu regains consciousness after several days and is surprised to find himself in the Shaolin Temple. Later, he is brought before the revered monks of the temple, who initially turn down his request for training because he is an outsider. However, the chief senior abbot approves Li's stay because he believes it is due to Lord Buddhist grace. Lu is given the new name Seythe from that point forward. Seythe is only given minor cleaning duties within the Shaolin Temple after a year. He tells one of the abbots about his dissatisfaction one day, expressing that his motivation of remaining there is to learn kung fu. In response, the abbot gives him the chance to learn kung fu in one of the temple's 35 chambers, which each focus on a different aspect. Seythe has the option to choose from. In addition, as instructed by the abbot, he selects the most advanced chamber, also known as the top chamber. Seythe impulsively demands that Sensei go to the top chamber, where he finds the monks reciting Buddhist sutras from memory despite their importance. The chamber's headmaster is offended by this. As a result, he tells him to go. When Seythe protests, the young man flees after the headmaster knocks him down from a distance. After this incident, Seythe decides to start at the lowest training level. Seythe then moves on to the first chamber, where he learns about lightness. In this chamber, balance and speed. To get to the dining hall, the new disciples must leap onto a bundle of floating sticks in a pool of water. Before entering the dining hall, the monk must dry his clothes after falling in the water. Seythe falls into the water due to his lack of experience, preventing him from joining the others in the dining hall. The meal has already ended when he finally enters after drying his clothes. The following day, Seythe attempts to use the abbot's path to enter the hall in an effort to solve the problem. However, one of the abbots who pushes him back into the water is to blame. In order to overcome this, Seythe engages in constant practice throughout the day and night. After a number of tries, he eventually learns to do it well enough that he can now leap 1 foot over the obstacle. With this achievement, the next chamber is given to Seythe, one that emphasizes arm strength training. The abbot explains that this training is important because weapons like knives, swords, poles, and spears require a lot of arm strength. Seythe begins his training by being required to carry buckets of water with attached blades while holding his arms straight out. This room also houses monasteries and laundry, where arm training is integrated into daily tasks. Seythe initially struggles, but over a short period of time he gradually improves and gains formidable arm strength. Seythe moves on to the next chamber, which focuses on wrist strength training, after completing the previous chamber with flying colors. In this room, using a long bamboo stick with a weighted pull on its edge and matching the headmaster's wooden beat, the disciples must strike a gong. From the outset, Seythe believes it to be a simple errand, however his supposition that is refuted when he battles to get the still up in the air to improve. He begins his training by grasping the stick nearer to the weighted draw and progressively expanding the distance in the later days. His ability to hold the bamboo stick from the bottom gets better every day. Additionally, he is now able to sync with the abbot's rhythm. The following chamber focuses on training and vision. Without moving their heads, the disciples must focus on a moving light or risk being burned by large incense sticks here. Seythe gets ready for this job. He initially tries to focus steadily for a few seconds, but then he moves his head by accident, burning his face. He continues with his training despite the setback. He is given the additional responsibility of carefully observing the obstacles and striking the one that reflects light in this field after a few days. Seythe shows off his best moves, making an impression on the abbot that lasts a long time. The abbot then gives him a promotion to another chamber. The 6th chamber is the one that focuses on strengthening the head. The trainees are tasked with breaking through a corridor of sandbags using headbutts and then placing incense sticks on an altar. The abbot explains that Seythe will be permitted to learn kung fu techniques if he passes this chamber, which is the final conditioning stage. Seythe takes on the training and ultimately overcomes the challenge because of his unwavering determination. The chief abbot called Seythe up one day and praised his determination, recognizing that he had set a new record by completing all of the basic training in less than 25 months. Seythe is then sent to the 7th chamber from the following day, where he receives instruction in empty hand forms and a variety of fist and palm techniques. Seythe moves through the stick, sword, and leg chambers over the course of time. Seythe excels at a faster rate than any other student, mastering staff and kicking broadsword techniques in just 6 years, greatly impressing the chief abbot. Because of this, the central abbot offers him the chance to turn into the accountable for any chamber he wants. The discipline chief, on the other hand, has reservations and is of the opinion that Seythe is not a good fit for the job in order to determine his worth. Seythe is challenged to a fight by the discipline chief, who agrees to promote him if he wins. After that, Seythe engages in a number of exhibition matches with a strict headmaster. However, he loses each time. Seythe invents a 3-section staff and uses it in their final confrontation after suffering multiple defeats. Seythe triumphs over the discipline chief with this new weapon, obtaining permission to assume responsibility for one of the chambers. He gets 3 days from the chief abbot to think about which chamber he wants to run. Seythe declares that he wants to open a new room where he can teach common people the basics of kung fu after the 3-day period, enabling them to fight back against those who oppress them. At first, the authorities restrict him from seeking after this undertaking, referring to their non-association in common issues. Seythe, on the other hand, is secretly banished by the temple, allowing him to carry out his mission. Sunday returns to the outside world on Sunday, this time to his hometown, where he finds that Tang is still torturing the people. However, this time Tang receives instruction from Seythe when he steps in. He easily defeats him, but because he adheres to Buddhist principles, he does not kill him. Instead, the act is carried out on Sunday's behalf by a young student named Lu Asai. Lu Asai sincerely begs Santiago to accept him as a disciple of his by expressing his desire to learn kung fu. Seythe moves around the town in the wake of this incident, providing assistance to others and assembling a group of committed young men who decide to follow him and become his first students. The death of General Tianta's right-hand man, Tang, angers him elsewhere. The henchmen, led by a leader named Chong, apprehend several young men as suspects in accordance with these instructions. He orders his men to identify the responsible party and impose punishment. And Tang's homicide. Seythe appears at the same time that Chong is about to execute them all and declares himself Tang's killer. Seythe was attacked by Chong and his henchmen when they heard this. But they are unable to defeat him despite their superior numbers. Cheng is killed right away when his own men accidentally stab him during the battle. General Tian Dao takes matters into his own hands, enraged by the news. He sets out to find the monk the following day with his soldiers. Seythe students, on the other hand, swiftly eliminate the general's men as they travel. The general is then led by Seythe to an open area, where they engage in a fierce duel. General Tianta fights Seythe, who wields his reliable 3-section staff, with 2 swords. Seythe proves to be the stronger fighter thanks to his extensive kung fu training, defeating the general and ending his oppressive rule. In the final scene, Seythe goes back to the Shaolin Temple and sets up the 36th Chamber, a special martial arts class where people who are not martial artists can learn kung fu. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.